So far in Chapter 9, we have learned about descriptive statistics. We have talked about finding the measures of center, which are the mean, median, mode, and range. We have also talked about finding a 5-number summary. Now we're going to take that 5-number summary and we're going to create what we call a box and whiskers graph or a plot. Some people call it a box plot. And the reason for this kind of graph is to demonstrate visually what these numbers look like. So remember, a 5-number summary is breaking data up into 4 quartiles or 4 sections, and we want to demonstrate that with a graph. So notice we have our numbers right here. They've already been placed in order from least to greatest. We've already identified the minimum, the maximum. We've identified the median. We've identified the first quartile and the third quartile. And those, if you recall, were the 5 parts of our 5-number summary. Now, what do we do with these parts to create a box plot or a box and whiskers plot? Well, it's actually pretty simple. We create a number line right here. Notice the number line starts right around the same number as our minimum. So our minimum was 68, and we're going to come up with our own number line that starts right around there. And notice that the maximum number was 76, and our number line ended just after that at 78. So we create our own custom number line, and then we're going to place these numbers above the number line. So 68 is our minimum. We're going to place a dot above 68. 71 was our first quartile, so we're going to place a dot above 71. 74 is the median, so we place a dot above 74. 75 is the third quartile, so we're going to place a dot above 75. And then last but not least, we have a maximum of 76. So as you probably guessed by now, a dot above 76. So now we have 5 dots representing the 5-number summary. Now we need to create our box and whiskers. So the first thing we're going to do is create the box. And we're going to create a box around the first quartile and the third quartile. So if I draw a line through the first quartile and through the third quartile, and then I'm going to create a box like so. So there's my box. And what I can also do is I can also draw a line through the median. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the whiskers. All right, so if you think of a cat or an animal with whiskers, we're going to have a couple lines going sideways. And those lines go from the dot from the first quartile to the minimum, and then also a dot from the third quartile to the maximum, and there we have our whiskers. So this is a box and whiskers plot. And the most important thing to remember about a box and whiskers plot is that every section of this box and whiskers plot represents 25% of the data. So this whisker here represents 25% of the data. This short whisker up here is also 25% of the data. This large section inside the box is 25% of the data, and even the small one is 25% of the data. So when they start asking questions about percentages of data, it helps to remember that every section represents 25% of the data. Another thing to think about is if we have a short whisker, like right here, it means that our data is close together. If we have a long whisker like this one here, it means that our data or numbers are more spread out. But that is the basic method of taking a 5-number summary and creating a box and whiskers plot. I hope that helps. Good luck.